Thank you. This is John Bischoff. I'm here with Laura Magnani, the principal accompanist at Marin Lutheran, and we're going to talk about her experience with the 2020 Zoom services. Hi, Laura.
Hi, John.
So can you please share a bit about your background, like where you grew up and how you got into music?
Well, sure. I am from Italy, as you know from my name and last name, Laura Magnani. I was born in Spoleto, which is a town in the center of Italy, in Umbria. And when I was born, I was already deeply immersed in a very culturally alive city. My hometown is the city of an important festival, the Spoleto Festival, also known as the Festival of the Two Worlds. That has been now for over 50 years. So I was lucky enough to be exposed to music and arts at a very young age. And my parents are very passionate of music. So they wanted me to be somehow educated to music. And then it was a funny thing because when I was very little, I think I was 5 years old, and I always wanted to go to church. So they thought I was a very religious child. But the funny thing is that I wanted to go to the cathedral only. And then they realized that I was there to listen to the organ rather than to listen to the church or the mass. And the organist came down one day to my dad after the service, and he said, "Is this child doing music?" And my father said, "No, not yet, but we're thinking about it." And he said, "Well, you should, because she's singing the 4 parts of the fugue that I just played on the organ." So I love the organ. I wanted to play the organ, but my parents were very good friends with a piano teacher. So I started playing piano, and it became a passion. I was 7 years old, and my mom had to bring me my snacks at the piano. I didn't want to go to birthday party. I was practicing all day, but that was very early on. Then, of course, I hit adolescence, and when I was like in my middle school, I had a moment where I couldn't care less about music and the piano, and it was much more important being out with my friends, you know. And so my parents said to me, "Well, since you're not practicing, maybe we're gonna sell the piano." And at that point, I was just, "What? You can't sell the piano?" I felt like, oh my God, my oxygen was going away. And so I started practicing again. And then in high school, it was the time where I really realized that I wanted to play. And I think I was protected also by, call it God, call it the universe, something, because in high school, I fell in love with a guy who was a pianist. And we were in the same class, and he was practicing all day, and I was not practicing. And I said, whoa, maybe this is a good thing. I should practice. Maybe he will notice me. And so fair enough, we were together for 15 years. And so I started pursuing my career as a musician. I got my degree in piano and then in voice. And then I got my PhD in piano at the Accademia di Santa Cecilia in Rome. And I started performing. And I also started directing a piano festival where I would invite people from Europe and all over the world in Spoleto to play for my piano festival. And then I also was invited by many other concert pianists to play for their seasons. And I started playing in Europe and in America and Canada. So I started really traveling a lot. And the more I did it, the more I loved it. And so this is where I am now. I moved to the United States 7 years ago when me and my husband, Lars, who was born and raised in San Francisco, decided to try living in a different country after Italy became a little more uncomfortable, culturally speaking, not much availability for culture, particularly for classical music. So we thought that probably being here was going to be a more open and fertile soil for me to be an artist. And I must say that ever since I arrived here, I've been very welcomed, and I was able to play quite a bit and have a lot of musical experience. I'm feeling very lucky. And of course, the experience with the Marine Lutheran Church has been one of the things that are inspiring me. It's a totally different way of making music, and I've never done it before. And I feel very fortunate that I've met the whole community and the Pastor Thomas, Andrei Gorjov, and all the members of the choir and all the congregation. I feel very lucky.
Well, I'll tell you, we feel lucky too, that's for sure. So now that you're here, and Marin Lutheran, I think, is not your only activity. What else are you doing with your music career here?
Yeah, well, I am also performing. I have been performing on a regular basis, particularly in the Bay Area for now, since I have a small child here, and I am actually deciding to be with him mostly, and I don't want to travel out of the country. Plus, I teach a lot. So I am also taking care of about 30 students right now.
30.
And from very, very, very young to high schoolers who are giving me a lot of satisfactions. And I have also many adults students, which are another joy for me, because it's a way of sharing a very deep friendship with other musicians of my age. And so that's very rewarding. Plus, you know, I love to play chamber music. Unfortunately, not now because we can't meet, but I love playing trios and quartets, and I've been lucky also to be surrounded by very, very talented musicians here in Marin County and the Bay Area.
Good. So when March 15th happened, and we decided to start doing Zoom already on the 22nd of March, how did that make you feel? What was that like?
That was shocking, as for everybody else. For us musicians, the fact that we cannot perform is extremely frustrating, because music is not something you want to keep for yourself. It's something you share. And the inability to share music live is extremely sad for us right now. It's demotivating, it's saddening, it's heartbreaking. But the beautiful thing is in this moment is that we have technology, and we have a very refined. If this had happened like only 10 years ago, it would have been a very big disaster because we couldn't have shared anything. Instead, right now, we're able, with the technology, we're able to share music through other ways. Of course, we had to step up the game and become more expert of what technology can offer in terms of devices, microphones, iPad, computers, and all recording devices. So definitely this is something we had to upgrade, and that is something that became a new expertise for us musicians, because now we are able to produce and broadcast ourselves into high quality concerts and performances. And we can offer our services as musicians to realities like our church, which in another moment we couldn't have done. So what happened to me, it was very clear. At first it was shocking, and then it was very clear that we really needed to get very good at technology. Me and Andre, Andre and I, we both understood that right away. And we're able to have a very strong and easy collaboration under this point of view. And we understood the formula for providing the church with a regular music for the service. And also Andre through his orchestra, because he is also the president of the Marine Youth Symphony, and me through my activity as a performer and as a teacher, we were able to never stop doing our music. I was able to record performances, produce videos with my own devices. I learned how to use multicam devices and software on the computer. And I'm able to see my students on a regular basis. My students have won competition, have played concerts, are preparing for tests, as if this has never happened. So for me, it has been an occasion, an opportunity to grow, I have to say. And music still is one of the most important things in my life right now, maybe more than ever right now.
It's always been a draw at Marin Lutheran to have good music. People have always said that's something that draws them. And having you and Andre is fantastic for us because everybody appreciates the music.
Thank you so much.
So you want to show us a little bit about what you do each week to create the services?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Let me bring you in the other room where I do all my recordings.
All right.
In a bit.
All right. Okay. All right, so show us what you do.
All right, so look, this is my studio. As you can see, there is another piano, which is an upright piano, not digital. This is a mechanical piano. And then there is a digital piano there. And so what happened here is, as a musician, I mean, as many other of us, we use recording as a device for practicing. We've always recorded ourselves. I mean, I record myself ever since I was able to have a cell phone. I was recording myself. For us, it's like when an actor look at himself in the mirror and does his own, parts and recites. And for us, performing on a device is like the only way we can have an external view of what we're doing. So for me, recording is like a mirror. And I've always done it. But, the difference between now and before is that now we are offering the product of our recording to others. So we want it to be technically more effective. So what happened is that I purchased this keyboard because this piano has the ability to play many voices. So you can play organ, harpsichord, piano, strings, guitar, choir, and also rhythmical percussions. So that was a very important thing to add because not being able to go to the church, I couldn't play organ music. This way I can play both organ and piano music, and I can also add rhythms to it. So what I do, generally speaking, so the routine is that Andre and I, along with Pastor Tom, we have a list of all the music for each service. And by the Sunday, every Sunday afternoon, Andre shares with me what is going to happen the following Sunday and the 2 Sundays from then. And I am usually, Andre and I are ahead 2 weeks. So we are able to, I'm given the music, I record the music on that piano. And through that piano, I put it on my cell phone through this microphone. This is a beautiful little microphone. This is called the I don't remember, but it's a beautiful microphone that is Motive. That's what it's called. And then there is the other microphone, which is the Yeti. It's another one. So through these 2 beautiful microphones, I'm able to translate whatever I record on that on an audio file, and I send it to Andre. What happens then? The piano part or the organ part is sent to each and every one of the chorus members. So what happens? Each of them follows the track of the music, sings his own part or her own part, and then what happens is that Andre Gorgov comes in. He receives each of the voices on top of my track, and he collects them and he puts them on top of the other, and he becomes a virtual choir. He does that through his fabulous ability as a technology guy.
Yeah.
I don't know how he can do it. And he produces every week all the services, all the service music. Then I also record a prelude and a postlude that is usually just instrumental, and open and close the service. And there you have it. You have the whole package. So this is something that is become, at first it was difficult because we didn't know how much before we needed the recording to give it to the choir. Now we're into a routine. So every 2 weeks, we have already produced the music for the following Sundays. Of course, now Christmas is coming, so there's a lot of extra work because we're recording all the Christmas music and the Advent music. I mean, this is definitely not as if we were all together, especially the choir, because the beauty of making music together is to create harmonies, right? And to make sure that all of our voices kind of blend together. This is virtual. It's much more difficult technically and much less rewarding musically. But we go beyond the pleasure now that we are taking from making music, just to have the vision of what we can offer to the community and to the congregation.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure to know that we are not stopping the music from being a part of the service, because I believe that music, as much as all the arts, particularly music, is a way to get closer to spirituality. Mm-hmm. And we feel blessed to be able to continue doing this through this instrumentation and technology.
Great. Thanks. Well, I would really appreciate it. There's been, I was doing some research on the YouTube services, and there's been quite a few views of the services, like over 1,700 views of the services since the beginning of this thing. So I think it's getting good, really helping Marin Lutheran a tremendous amount. So, yeah. And please get ready, because when the virus is over, I think we'll have one big celebration service. So,
oh yeah, we're all waiting for it, and we're looking forward to the moment where, I mean, obviously, you know, the thing is, the more we are now patient and take care of our health, the sooner we're going to be able to be together. So we have to be really patient. This has been a very challenging time. Mm-hmm. For not only this reason, for many reasons. I think all of us are put through extreme challenges in every possible way. This is one of the many, right?
Yeah.
Having to homeschool our children, having to be away from our beloved ones. I haven't been able to travel to my parents in 2 years now, and I haven't seen my mom in so long. And I lost one of my dearest aunts yesterday, and I wasn't even able to say goodbye. And that's a heartbreaking situation. So we need to make the best of what we have and feel grateful for the fact that we're still healthy. We're still able to communicate and to offer what we can to each other.
So how many hours a week does all this take to put together each of the services?
Oh, you know, it's hard to say, because it depends on what is the repertoire. And, you know, the recording process, it's a challenging one, not much as a musician, as much as in terms of nerves, in the sense that, you know, when you are performing, if you make a mistake, the audience still appreciate the overall, you know. But when you release a recording and there is a mistake, you really do not want to have that, because it will go over and over and over. There is no redeeming from that. So what happens, recording a piece, especially when you have like about 10 pieces a week, or maybe 8 pieces a week, you cannot practice too much. So you're relying a lot on your reading skills. And what happens is, before you can produce a video or an audio that is closer to perfection, you might have to retake the same recording 10, 20 times. That is time consuming. So depending on how difficult the repertoire is, it could take longer I remember one week, probably because I was a little bit more tired from working and teaching a lot of hours, I started recording one of the Christmas carol, one of the Christmas pieces, and it took me literally the whole day because it's a long piece, and I would make mistake at the last page. during the recording, my son would come back and would talk to me. Because also me and Andre, we don't have a recording studio. We're doing this in our house, and our house is full of other people. He has a little child. I have a 12-year-old and husband, now a puppy dog. So the noise is always there. And so recording requires silence. Sometimes I find myself recording like at 2 a.m. on my digital piano, which can record silently because I could use headphones, and then record from the piano to the recording machine when everybody's gone the next day. So it's a long process. Sometimes it takes a few hours, many hours sometimes. Some others, when I'm lucky, it's a pretty fluent thing. It depends on the rep.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And is there anything else you want to pass on or say to the Marin Lutheran congregation, Laura?
Well, I want to say thank you, first of all, because first of all, I feel really blessed and grateful to have met every one of you. Pastor Tom is a strong figure for me. It's a very strong faith advisor, a person that I respect and inspires me every time he speaks during our service. So it is a new way of perceiving spirituality for me, because I have been exposed to many years of Buddhism. But I was educated and baptized and raised as a Catholic Christian. So this is part of my, I grew up with this. Mm-hmm. And even though I haven't been active in church for a few years, I feel like I am very familiar with this message, and it brought me another dimension of spirituality, which is very needed, much needed. And then I'm really grateful for all the people at the Marin Lutheran Church, starting from Bev to all the choir members, so the people that have been sharing their appreciation with me and with my family, with my son when he plays the violin. And then I feel blessed to have met Andre. I feel like we work together so well, and it's such an harmonious relationship of two musicians that think alike, and we really are always on the same page, which is amazing. There's never been a moment where we have not thought the same. And I feel that is a really big blessing for me. So I'm very happy under every point of view to be a part of this community. I feel blessed.
Well, thank you very much. We look forward to your pieces every week, and this week coming up, and for the foreseeable future. So thanks very much for your time today, and for all you've done all throughout the whole 2020.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
And I hope to see you soon in person.
All right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that day too.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.
you.